Hello, hello, welcome to Mindset to Results. And today our guest is Kevin P. Hempstead. He's published author and public speaker. And today we will speak about very interesting topic. It is about journaling and how journaling can help you to achieve your personal and business goals. Hi, Kevin.
Hello.
Hello, hello. Welcome to our podcast.
Thank you. Thank you. It's good to be here.
Yeah, you're most welcome. So let us speak today about journaling. It is such important topic. All successful people have this habit to journal what they want, what they plan, what they visualize. So tell us a little bit about you, how journaling became so important in your life and how it helped you to manifest what you wanted.
Well, I began journaling as a young child and I started with drawing and sketching. And then I would write about the things that I drew and sketched. And they were usually things that happened in my life and things that I wanted to happen in my life. And I never stopped drawing, sketching, and then putting the drawings and writing about them, as you can see in one of my journals here, sketches, and I write about everything going on in my life. So there's sketches all the way through my journals about whatever happens to be going on. So see, this was 9/11 right here where I discussed, and the
Wow,
burning towers.
wow,
See,
so
so
interesting. So
just
you can
sketches.
just go through all these pages and see your life every day, how your life was,
Yes.
and bring those memories. Wow, it's so beautiful.
When my grandson was being born, this was how my daughter and her husband announced it with a little baby outfit here, and it said we're expecting. So everything, it's a good way of not just documenting the past, but a good way of writing about what's on your mind and clearing your mind, and then writing about what you want in the future as well.
Great. So tell me a story what you could manifest by doing journaling. It is very
Well,
interesting.
yes, and one of the things that made me realize the power of journaling was when I wrote a in my journal that I wanted a motorcycle, specifically a Harley Davidson motorcycle. And what I did is I wrote about it and I drew the picture in my journal. And only about 1 week later, a friend of mine said, "There's a contest and my boss is giving away a Harley Davidson." And I knew right then, I said, "Oh my God, this is like almost magical that I wrote it in my journal and someone told me a way of achieving that goal." And then I wrote down all of these little steps in my journal that I wanted to do to enable me to win the Harley. Because I said, in my mind, I said, that's supposed to be mine.
Mm.
There's the drawing of the Harley Davidson
Wow,
motorcycle.
it looks so good.
Oh, well, thank you.
Wow.
And then I wrote about it and I wrote the steps and I won. The Harley Davidson is in my garage right now.
Amazing, amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, it is so inspiring. Yes, people who listen to us can be so inspired. Yeah, and it happened to me
Thank
many
you.
times when I just started thinking about writing it, and this is just out of sudden from nowhere it was just coming. It is really so powerful. So tell us more about this. How
Well,
journaling helped you in your life?
besides just the manifestation part, but first the manifestation part, I noticed after winning the Harley that there were other things in my life, a house and and different things that I had drawn in my life, and they and I looked around and they were actually in my life, the things that I had wrote about and sketched in my journal. And that enabled me, or inspired me, I should say, to come up with the system for my upcoming book. And it's called the MAP system. And I view your journal as your map, which it is your memories of the past, your actions of the present, and your plans of the future. MAP. And I
Mm-hmm.
view your journal as your life's map.
Mm-hmm.
So when you write down where you've been, just like a map, you can see where you've been. You write down the actions of the present for where you are, and then your plans for the future of where you're going.
Yeah, it is very interesting. So, how do you think journaling is important? Like, why do you think it is important for people who don't do that yet?
Well, besides it just being the map for your life, it's important for your mental health as well. If you have anxiety or if you're suffering from any type of stress, it helps a lot. And there are numerous studies that show it will help you to write these things down, to get them out of your head. Otherwise, your problems are going to keep swimming around in your head, and they're stress. They cause stress. They cause anxiety. They cause you to really think more about the problem as opposed to thinking about the solutions, which when you write down the problem in your journal, it's easier to focus on it and then to come up with possible solutions for that challenge or problem.
Yes, it is like empty some space from your head. Yeah, because when you take this situations, those problems out of your head and you write them, you like release them, right? It is not anymore in you. It is just on the paper. And you look at
Exactly.
it from the side, like something from out of you already. Yes, and you can look to that from different perception. It is actually a very good exercise. Like if you really have a problem, like something that really bothers you and you don't know what to do, how to find solution, it is very good practice to write it down and put it in the middle of the table and just go around from different corners and think that if you would be another person, for example, somebody who is your role model, somebody who you respect, maybe admire, if that person would look at this situation, how he would look at this. And then again, go in different corner or different side of the table and think, what if that different person, another one, yeah, somebody looked at this situation, what he would say, what he would think. And only even this practice to look at situation which it is out of your mind, yeah, out of your head, from perception of different people, you can start looking at it so different, and you can see that it is not maybe even such difficult as you could see it before.
Well, there are so many reasons to journal. There's as many reasons as there are people that journal. And there's lots of successful people that journal and everyday people that journal. For example, there is one gentleman I interviewed whose father passed away. And there were so many things he wanted to tell his father. And now he tells his father these things in his journal, and it gives him a lot more calm and solace and closure, because the things that he's writing in his journal, he calls them letters to his father. He's a school teacher, and as a matter of fact, I am going to be discussing some things with him later on this afternoon. But he is a very, very interesting fellow. And like I said, it helps him to empty his mind of all the things he wanted to say to his father about the things that went on when he was a child, as well as the things that are currently going on in his life. So there's numerous situations, various situations where journals will help in so many different ways.
Yeah, thank you. And I think maybe somebody who has some maybe negative memories, yes, and maybe angry or sad about something. So when they put it in the paper, they release all this negativity of sadness. They just take it out of them and put it on the paper. And only from this they can feel so much released because it is no more in them.
And
Otherwise,
writing,
people, mhm,
I'm
yeah.
sorry, I was going to say, I'm sorry for interrupting, but I wanted to say that writing it down, a negative thing that happened in your life, is only the first step. The next step in the process, after you write down something negative that makes you feel bad, you don't want to continuously feel bad about it. So you write down something positive. No matter how negative something is, there's usually at least one positive thing that you can get out of that negative experience. Even if that one positive thing is, I'm going to learn from this how not to allow this situation to happen again, or how to decrease the chances of this negative event happening again. Or let's say this is an event such as a loss of a loved one, which does happen on a regular basis. People we love pass away, they die. And and someone will say, well, what's the positive of my grandparent dying, or my parent dying? The positive thing is your memories about them. Oh, and also the fact that now you have to learn, they have equipped you well enough to learn how to move on without them in their life, without them in your life anymore. So there's always something you can learn, because anything negative that you're writing into your journal, you have to reframe it. It's your memory, so it's totally up to you how you reframe that memory. And it should not remain a negative and painful memory, because there should always be at least something positive that you learn from it.
Yes, exactly. And when you put it on the paper, it is easy to look at it again from a side, from outside. Yes, you look at something from outside, and it is easy to find something positive because you look at like certain perception already. You have like certain view, and it is always depends on you what meaning you give to situation, because whatever situation happened, it is our choice to give it the meaning, and depending on the meaning which we give to it, the result or effect of the situation on us will be different. And you said totally right about finding positive, because there is the equivalent of positive in every negative, because
Yeah.
the law of equivalence. Yes. So again, whatever happened, if we have this attitude not to allow anything from outside of us to impact us or to dictate us. Yes, so this attitude also can help to learn lessons from the situation, and also choose how you want to move forward. Yeah, because some people they just get emotionally attached to a situation, and they just continue living in the past. Like you
Mm-hmm.
can meet person and say like, what is going on, like why you sad, or I am depressed, this has happened to me, when this happened to me, to you 20 years ago, and still he can stay in the same and relive those moments, and just all the life they can just stay in that past. So it is a very powerful technique to put this all on the paper and start reasoning. Yeah, that this has already happened. So what I want to do? Do I want the situation to poison all my life and just
Yes.
not live the way how I would live at my potential and happy? Or I want just leave it in the past, take my lessons and move forward.
Yes, because it just as there's a old and popular saying, it's not what happens to you, it's how you process or how you think about what happens to you, how you react, if that is what you do. And even the most negative thing, you have to ask you, and once you write it down in your journal, then you write down a good question. What positive came from this? What did I learn from this? Those are empowering questions. You always want to ask yourself empowering questions, because that's how our minds think. Our mind thinks in terms of questions. For example, let's say if you're driving down the street and you see a car swerving in front of you, you're immediately going to ask yourself, is this person drunk? Are they on their cell phone? Why are they so? You're going to ask yourself questions. That is how our brains work. It's empowering if we consciously ask ourselves empowering questions, especially about negative things that happen in our lives. For example, one of the most negative events of my life that used to bring me to tears every time I thought of it was the murder of my brother. The most negative thing that has ever happened. This is my brother I was so close to, and he was murdered, brutally murdered. And it was so traumatic. And yet I was still able to journal about it and find some positives in it. It got me closer to the Lord. Me getting closer to the Lord taught me how to forgive. I actually had how to forgive and how to forgive the man that killed my brother. So that's a powerful, powerful lesson that has helped me in every aspect for the rest of my life after that. And that was 30 years ago. And it's still to this day sometimes can be painful if I focus on the negative. But when I think about the Lord helped me forgive the gentleman that did it, I could see him today and would not hold any hostility for him. I might not trust him because I still learn the way that he killed my brother. I might still learn the lesson of not to trust him, but I'm not angry at him. I hold no animosity and I don't want to do anything negative to him. As opposed to when it first happened, I did. I had to learn that lesson. And that's the most negative thing I could think of that has happened in my life. So negative things happen in everyone's life, and you have to learn how to reframe it, how to learn from it, how to move on from it. Otherwise, he would have destroyed not only my brother's life that he killed, but my life as well.
Yes, that's very powerful to forgive. Yes, and when forgive, we remove that heaviness. Yes, like load, because when people hate somebody or like don't forgive, the
Right.
first person whom they harm it is themselves. Yes,
Yes.
because it is like poison which they allow to just kill themselves from within. And that is why there is a lot of studies, and it shows that like cancer, different diseases can be caused when people are depressed or angry or anxious. This all initiate those negative processes in human body.
Very true. Very true. Because that stress caused by you worrying about or focusing on something negative, it really can cause you to manifest something negative in your body as well. And diseases come from people who are extremely stressed. Stress, there's different types of stress. There's a productive type of stress, which is when you're striving to get ahead and striving to do things and you put this pressure on yourself. And then there's the negative stress where you're really worried about things and you're really thinking about things and letting them really bother you. Your journal helps you get these things out of your head onto paper where you can focus on them and start asking yourself, as I previously said, the empowering questions. What can I learn about this? What are the actions I need to take right now? Because this is the memory. The memory is here. Okay, the memories of the past. What are the actions I can take right now to move on from that memory? And then the future. You think about, what do I want to focus on in the future? The memories of the past, actions of the present, and then the plans of the future. That's the direction you want to go in. So that's what you want. Those plans for the future is what's going to dictate what you do now.
Yes, and journaling helps to make that vision more clear. because when you
Yes.
want something, it's just a fantasy. Yes, like everything starts from that fantasy, which is not real. We don't know, but we want something. We start thinking about this, and when we start giving it a reason, right, like start reasoning, give it thought, this is how we take fantasy to theory. Yes, like it becomes more like, what if it is really can happen? And when we give more power to that with our thoughts and actions, this is how we bring it to the fact, and it becomes
Yes.
our reality. And journaling helps
Yes.
to make that clear, right? Like initially you just tried something, but when you write it again and again, it more ideas start to come. Yes, that like it becomes
Exactly.
more bright and more clear, and then you start
Exactly.
getting like pick up different ideas. And when you do it through repetition, our subconscious mind start creating that plan, that route, how to get you there. And this is then how you can then you start seeing different signs, yes, which your subconscious
Hmm.
mind just to different signs. And when you conscious about that, you pick those signs, those ideas in, and if you implement them, this is how you get closer to your goal every day.
Yes. And I'm glad you brought that up because you're right. The practically every single motivational speaker, practically every single motivational book, back to motivational speakers like Jim Rohn, Les Brown, Tony Robbins, all of them talk about the power in visualizing what you want in your life. And when you are writing that down in your journal, it's really important to write it down as crystal clear as you can. How imagine how it smells, how it's going to feel, how it's going to look, how are you going to be feeling? You want to express it and imagine it with all of the senses in your imagination. And our minds, our subconscious cannot tell the difference between what we're imagining vividly and reality. And once we're imagining it vividly and we've written down all of the details of that vision of where we want to go, it's a lot easier to achieve it. Our mind and body will already be there, and it's a lot easier. And that's one of the reasons why in my journal, because I am an artist, that's why I draw. And if you look at mine, I draw the things in it that I want to achieve. And that makes it easier for me to achieve them as I put them down in my picture. It's when you, whenever I draw or paint anything, it always takes me right there to that thing that I am imagining in my mind that I am putting on the paper. And I do that in my journal. And you can do the same thing if you're not an artist, just by writing down the details. If you want that new home or that new car, write down the details. I have a lawn, I have a big front lawn. The house is a 2-story home. It has a basement. Write down everything you want, even in the mate that you want. And then it's up to you to write down the steps of how to get there. Write down different plans. You write down what you need to do to get there, and then you start working towards your plan.
Yes, and interesting that it initially comes from fantasy, and you don't even know how to do that. And this is not important. You shouldn't know how to do that. You just have to fantasize and get in details and get through feelings, because our subconscious mind, it is emotional mind.
Yes.
So yes, and subconscious mind, through emotions and feelings, it causes us to act. In order to
Yes.
do something, we should be excited, yeah, we should be inspired, we should be motivated from within. Yes, and this is how it comes, like when we get those feelings, when we know exactly what we want, we have that clear picture that journaling helps us to do. This is how our subconscious mind gets involved. And Through
Right.
repetition, when we write it again and again, we impress this image into subconscious mind. And when it believes it, because through repetition, it becomes real. Like
Yes.
initially, it just can be like fantasy. What if I would have, or what if? But if we do this journaling, we start thinking about this, we visualizing. More we do this, it becomes, we start seeing it as real thing, that real, yes,
Yes.
it is possible, yes, I can do that, yes, I'm going that for that, right? So it is a process just from thinking like fantasy, or like it is so big, or maybe not possible, and these all steps make it to feel real. And sooner you make it feel real, like accept in your subconscious mind that this is where you want to be, really this is yours, and see yourself there, like sooner you can see this, like use this imagination and feelings, and uh, like make your subconscious mind believe, yes, in that picture, sooner it will be manifested, because it is the law of
The
of
law of attraction is
perpetual,
one of the things.
yeah, it is the law of perpetual repetition of energy, like energy which
Mhm.
we create in our mind. Yes, like all these thoughts, ideas, they create certain like energy, and through repetition this energy must take physical form. So it is not
Yes.
about how, it is just about repeating and be consistent, knowing what you want and see the signs and implementing it right away when you just got them.
Yes. And but the thing is, it's more than just wishing. Once you have in your mind an image of what you want, then even if you write down one step you're going to take in the direction of what you want, those steps add up day by day. If you do one step, make one phone call, attempt to meet one person, read one book, whatever step you take in the direction of your goals, those steps accumulate, they compound and they add up. And one step every day for a year is 365 steps at the end of the year. And imagine if you did one small step every year for 3 to 5 years, you could achieve practically anything your heart's desire, practically anything. All it takes is consistent action, but it starts with you imagining that you have already achieved it. That is more than just thinking about it. Imagining it is the beginning, because that is where it all starts. And in the imagining it already happening as if you already achieved it, that gives you motivation. But you writing down the steps in your journal towards achieving it, that is the discipline. So motivation gets you started, and discipline keeps you going. The discipline of just writing down just one. It doesn't have to be, I'm going to do this, and this today. No, it's one small step every day, one small step every other day, couple steps, and then monitor your progress, make adjustments. And one powerful thing you can do is what I did in the back of my journal is I put questions. Questions are, where am I at right now? What where am I? What are my wins for the past 30 days, for the past month? What are the wins I have done? What are the steps I have taken in the direction of my goals and dreams? And as long as you are moving in that direction, even if it's a little bit, I would argue that you are success. You are successful for that month because you have moved in the direction of your dream. Success.
Yes, exactly. I like the quote of old Nightingale about success, and he said that success is the realization of the worthy ideal. So it is not just having something. Success is the process. Yes, it is the
Yes,
process when you do a step forward and you compare with yourself yesterday and
yes.
you
That
already.
is my favorite quote. Success is when you're, and I believe the quote is, success is your pursuit of a worthy ideal. I believe was it Jim Rohn or Earl Nightingale? But
Yeah,
I
all these.
love
Is
that is
this.
the quote.
Yeah, it is progressive realization of the worthy ideal. Progressive, it means that every day you move forward, right? And when you compare
Yes,
yourself back, you're
exactly.
already successful, because we don't want to compare ourselves with anybody. The only person we compare ourselves is ourselves yesterday. Yeah, so when we compare us with ourselves yesterday and we move forward, this is how we become successful every day.
Yes, that is very true. That is the only person you should be comparing yourself to is your previous self. And if you are doing that, it's and you continually improving on yourself, you are successful. You are being successful. You are in the habit of success because you are moving in the direction of your goals and dreams. And they will, if you are imagining them and visualizing them and taking steps every day, those steps, they compound and you will realize your dreams. The journaling, and I've proven it. There's so many things in my journal that have come true. And I still have things in my journal that I still want. I still have I want I want that Corvette right there. And I sketched that old fashioned 1963 Corvette, well, 64 Corvette convertible. I want that. And one day I will get it. I visualized it. I've written it down. I'm going to draw it a few more times, describe it. I'm going to describe how it feels me driving it, how the leather feels that and how it feels to put the top down and feel the wind blowing across my bald head. And that Corvette is mine. I just don't have it in my possession yet, but I know I'm going to get it. So it's just a matter of time.
Exactly. Because you always get what you expect. This is another thing. Like when you impress that image into your subconscious mind, you become expecting it. You already know that it is coming. Yes, and you just command to your subconscious mind to give you the plan how to get there.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes.
This
And
is what
like I said,
repetition.
journaling really helps you to express that. You write it down, and there, although it's good to, you can type your journal because there's so many people who are just high tech and they don't want to write, they want to just type. And there's power in that. But studies have shown there's even more power in physically writing it instead of just typing. There's something because you have to think a little bit more when you're writing it down. You have to, when you're writing it, that connection of your pen to your brain, it makes you focus a little more on what you are putting on that paper. And there's a lot more power in it when you actually do the writing. So I encourage the people who journal to write if you can. Now, granted, even typing is better than doing nothing because then at least you're dumping the things out of your brain that you're thinking about. But if you really want the power of manifesting things, if you really want the power of achieving your goals, start writing, put it on paper, put it on paper, go old school, as they say.
Yes, exactly. Write your goal, read it every morning just when you wake up before you go to sleep. Because your task is just to do it through repetition. Do it so many times that it becomes like part of you. And we are goal oriented organisms. We have that In our subconscious mind, we have that cybernetic mechanism which is set to the goal. And if
Yes.
we do it to repetition, it will start getting to our goal, and we even don't know how it will be. It will come just out of nowhere. And you said that if you do one step every day, it will be 365. And I think that it will be even more than 365 steps, because one door opens and then seven other door
Yes.
opens. So you don't know. Like you can just do something and you don't even know like what what other opportunities it can bring to you. Yeah, that is why it is so important to develop your intuition. Like when you think about your goal, when you visualize it, when you start expecting, and you just demanding your subconscious mind just to give you this plan because this is yours, right? And
Mhm.
also, all very important to develop your intuition, because your subconscious mind communicates with you through intuition, and you have to be open to listen and hear those signs and see those signs and act immediately when you get them, because this is the key.
Yes. Yes. And it's interesting that you brought up and doing it when you sleep, because there's there's some people who journal when they first wake up. There's some people who journal right before going to bed and sleeping. There is no wrong way to do it. That's the point. There is no wrong way. Sometimes I'll journal at the beginning of the day, sometimes at the end of the day. If you, I would suggest if you're going to journal at the beginning of the day, then you should write down your at least 2 to 3 goals of the day. The goals of you want, even if it's just I'm going to be have joy today, or if you say I'm going to not let traffic bother me today. I'm going to be happy all through work. I'm going to, or whatever it is you plan. I'm going to do one thing towards my goal, towards my ideal, towards my worthy ideal, as the saying goes. Or if you are going to journal at night, a good practice is what are 3 things, 2 to 3 things that went well today? Even if you had a bad day, I guarantee there are at least a few things you can think of that went right. If nothing else, just the fact that you survived it. You survived it. You get to start over tomorrow. So there's power. There's power in writing these things down. When you write down the things, at least 2 to 3 things you're grateful for every day, that will change your life. If you write down 3 things you're grateful for every single day into your journal, and some people say, well, I have nothing. You do have something. Just the fact that you woke up this morning. There are thousands of people around the world that did not wake up and will never wake up on this earth again. You have that to be thankful for. There are so many things that you can say, I am thankful for. I'm thankful for my children, thankful for my parents, for my spouse. I'm thankful for my dogs. My dogs are always so happy to see me. There's always something to be thankful for. And if you write those things down on a daily basis, you'd be amazed at how much that will help your mentality and help you just feel good about your life. And that's what life's about, being happy. That's what life is about, being happy. No matter what goals you are, if you do that old Japanese practice of the 5 whys, if you say, okay, I want a new car. Why do you want the new car? Because it'll look good and I'll look good driving it. You ask yourself why 5 times. Why do I want to feel good driving it? Eventually, you're going to, by that 5th why, you are going to get to the core reason, which is usually because it makes me happy. That's usually the core reason for absolutely every single thing that you want in your life. Even if you want something to help, if you love helping people, why do you love helping people? You keep asking yourself why. Why do I like it when people feel good? Why do I like helping? You keep asking yourself those 5 whys, and it helps to write them down in your journal. By the time you get to that 5th one, usually it's because this makes me feel good. This makes me happy. That's the reason we're alive, to be happy. to
Yes, it is so
progress.
beautiful. Yeah. I really enjoy our conversation, and you have such a beautiful, great energy, Kevin.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
I'm
So,
enjoying this too. I could talk for hours. So thank you for reining me in and stop me once in a while.
yes, of course, because it is a very important topics you discussed now. Yeah, gratefulness. Yeah, being grateful for everything we have, and it is
Yes.
again, it is nothing to compare with somebody else what they have or what we don't have. It just to find those things that we we haven't, that we appreciate in our life, and it shouldn't be big things, right? It is
Right.
can be a smile, it can be something even like a touch or whatever, yes, like a friend's call, and whatever.
So
There
true.
can be so small things, but if we,
Hmm.
it is just about attitude, because people who can be grateful for small things, they will appreciate big things. Yes, and this
Very true.
state of being grateful, it is like it is like high frequency when people are grateful, and also they are in love. Yes, like with, they are in love with people, with the world, with dog, if it is their pet or whatever. It is a different state of mind, and this state of mind, it helps us to be in a beautiful energy. Yes, because when we're
Yes.
grateful, when we send love to environment, to people, to pets, whatever, it is we who create that energy, that frequency, and what we send outside, we get the same energy. Yes, that's why it is important, even if you had conflict or whatever's happened, it is that in the Bible, yes, the one of the principles is said that the sun doesn't set with in your anger when you are angry. So
Yes.
whatever happens, we have to we have to solve it as soon as possible before even the sun sets down, because we don't want to go to bed and with negative energy. And even I teach my daughter, like we just had recently this conversation, that even if somebody like did something wrong and you said, you have to go first and just said that, see, this is, I didn't like this, made me sad, and explain, because other people, they might even don't know that you got sad and that they hurt you, because they're in their own frequency, right? They have their different perception, and we know that it looks like we are in the same reality, but this reality is not the same for many people. Yes, like for different people, because everybody dwell like physically, we think that we are here, like like
Hmm.
everybody see the situation, and we think that everybody see the same picture. But if 100 people will go to the movie and watch the same movie, every one of them will take something different, because people
Yes.
like physically they're in the same 3D reality, but mentally, like in their mind, everybody see the reality through the prism of their consciousness,
Very
through the.
true. Very
Mhm.
true. And that's the perspective of everyone is different. If someone was sitting on this side of me, their perspective of the screen looking at you would be different than mine as I sit in front of the screen. Everyone's perspective on life will be different. And that's what you're referring to. Yes, I agree. And to touch on something you just said about gratitude, that and how powerful it is. I believe gratitude is the second most powerful of the positive emotions, only second to love itself. Love is the most powerful. It's my opinion that of the positive emotions, gratitude is second to love. When you're thankful for things that you have, the things, everything in your life, we should be thankful for. All the people, places, and things in our life, we should be thankful for, as well as the path that got us to where we are, the people, places, and things. because even though sometimes they might have been painful to go through, it's still good that you've gone through them and learned the lesson. Sometimes it's good to learn the lesson early in life because later in life can be a lot more painful. And I know there's some lessons that you're going to continue to repeat until you learn them. And they're going to be painful. Every single time you feel pain, write in your journal, what are the lessons I need to learn from this? What can I do to make sure or to try to decrease the chances of this ever happening again? What positive things came out of this? You ask yourself those empowering questions. Every single negative thing in your life then becomes more positive, then becomes something that empowers you, even if the only thing you learned from it was what you learned, the lesson. There's a saying, everything is either a victory or a lesson. And that is so true. That's why we're here, to learn, to get better, and at the very core, to be happy.
Yes, exactly. And also, happiness, as you said, it comes from within.
Yes.
It doesn't depend on outside factors. It is just being happy with yourself, the way how you are. And when people communicate with others, they they should communicate from being full cup. Yes, not being empty and thinking that, oh, this person has to do that to make me happy, or has to do that to make me happy. Nobody has to do anything to make you happy. Yes, because this is your job to be happy, right? To be happy with yourself and come with that feeling that you have more than enough, right? Like you are more than enough to give the value to other people. And this is totally different energy exchange when people come in relations, whatever kind of relations, with intention of giving, yeah, giving their happiness because they are happy and they want to share it with other people.
Yes, yes. And back to what we discussed earlier with that quote, that success is the pursuit of a worthy ideal. There are, and just to tell you a little bit about, this is in my book that I'm writing about the worthy ideals that I pursue, that I consider success. And each one builds on the next. And the first one is wisdom. I try to strive to be wise. And then there's discipline, then strength, then there's health, happiness, gratitude, as we discussed, and then love, last but not least, which should start with yourselves, with your heart and loving yourself, then your family, your loved ones, and your community, including your enemies. The Bible tells us we need to love our enemies. And it wasn't until I got into my 60s, because I'm 62 right now. When I got into my 60s that I learned how to love my enemies, as the Bible says a good Christian should. And the way you love your enemies is you have to consider that the Lord, if you believe in God, universal intelligence, it is in everyone that is alive. Everyone that is alive has God in them, and you love the God that is in them. You don't have to like what they say. You don't have to like what they do. You don't have to like how they act, because people can get very ugly. You don't have to love that part. What you love is the God, the Lord that is in them, the universal power that is in them. And that universal power and the way that you manifest or show that love to that person is, if that person, even if you don't like what they say, think, do, smell, any of that, the way you show your love for them is, if they are thirsty, you give them water to drink. If they're hungry, you give them food to eat. If If you see them, like the Bible says, if you see someone going to the slaughter, you are supposed to warn them. You at least have to try to stop them because the Lord knows your heart. So you at least tell them, hey, don't go to that person will hurt you. That person might kill you. Stop. That is how you show your love to someone. Even if you don't like that person, you love that person, the inside of that person. That person is alive. They may repent later. They may thank you. Your kindness towards them could be just what they needed to turn their life around. You don't know, but you know that you did the right thing. You will not unjustly harm anyone because you love them. Now, I did say unjustly harm them because if they're trying to harm you, then you have to protect yourself or your family. But because you love them, you are not going to do them any harm, and you are going to help them if they're hungry, if they're thirsty, if they're doing something dangerous, you warn them. That is how you show your love as a good Christian towards anyone, no matter what kind of person they are. You have to show love, the most powerful emotion ever. Sorry, I didn't mean to go on a tangent.
It is a very beautiful conversation. Yes, because we have to be in that state of love all the time,
Yes.
and that's why we send love to everybody, and we receive that energy, right? So it
Yes.
is all about not just allowing outside factors to get you to low vibration. It's because we know at which vibration we are. This is what we will attract. If we not in the high vibration, it is like channels, like
Mm-hmm.
radio. Yes, like if
Yes.
people listen, for example, AM, in the AM channel, you will listen
Mm-hmm.
only programs which are AM, right? You
Yes.
will not listen, yeah, what is in FM. So
My God, I forgot
you
AM even
you if you
existed. You're
have big
right.
goals, right? You have big goals.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be in that frequency that your goal exists, right? Because you have to become that person who already achieved what you want. So you cannot just afford to be angry for different people to get to low frequency, because you know that if your frequency different, if you go low, you will harm yourself. You not will harm anybody but yourself, because you will start
Yes.
attracting more wrong things in your life, and you just cannot afford with that because your goal is big.
Yes.
That's why it is so important to be conscious about your thoughts, about your feelings, about which people you even allow in your energy field, like allow in your circle, because
Oh my God, you are
you just
so
want to
right. You
achieve
are.
big things in life, and you want to be also helpful for many people. You cannot help anybody if you are down.
Mhm. You are so right. You reminded me of another quote, and I love quotes, so I could go on quoting people, but there is another quote, and it's concerning animosity. If you hold animosity or anger towards anyone, it is the equivalent of you drinking poison and saying, "Oh, I hope this hurts them. Oh, I hope they feel this." You're the one drinking the poison. This person that you're angry at, they probably moved on with their life. They're probably gone. They've gone on, and they're not even. They don't. They may not even know you're angry with them. But you are hurting yourself with that animosity, that low vibration, that oh, they make me so mad. You're drinking the poison, and you are hurting yourself. You are making yourself sick when that person, you have to forgive people. That is the power of forgiveness. You forgive people, like the when I brought up the guy that killed my brother. I forgave him for me. Even though I haven't met him in person, I forgave him to help me move on, to help me continue to be a positive person. I don't want to be a negative person, always thinking about revenge or hatred or any of those things. And it's positive. The positive part of me came from my forgiving him. That's the important lesson here. When you forgive people, you forgive them for yourself, not for them, for yourself.
Definitely, definitely. Yes, it's such a great topic. I really enjoy it. So let's go back to journaling and let's speak about how journaling can help you in personal life.
Okay. Well, in your personal life, um, I used to work at the post office here in the United States, here in Denver, where I live. And I remember having a dream, and the dream was so vivid. It was a crazy dream. And I was like, oh my God, it was so crazy. I wanted to say, what does this dream mean? In the dream, my brother, who always was my protector, the same one that was murdered, he was always my older brother that looked out for me. He said, Kevin, take off your shoes and look at your feet. And I'm like, what? What? In this dream. And he said, just take off your shoes. And I'm like, okay, okay. So I take my shoes off and I look at my feet, and that is what I saw.
Wow.
My eyeballs were on the bottom of my feet, were looking back at me, blinking. And I was like, oh my God. And you know what? I woke up and I sketched that out in my journal. And then I thought about what could that mean? And the way I thought about it, when you asked what could that mean, because the brother was always looking out for me, I interpreted that as it meant watch your step. Call that the watch your step dream, because eyeballs on my foot that I step with, watch your step. And I needed to watch my step because there was a manager at my job that was trying to fire me.
Mhm,
And it was as if my brother was telling me, watch your step. Because if she, if this woman who did not like me for whatever reason, if she would have succeeded, I wouldn't have been able to retire. I retired from there 2 years ago. It would have destroyed me financially had she fired me. And she
mhm.
wanted to fire me because I stood up to her when she was wrong on some issues. And my the dream with my deceased brother telling me, look at your feet, look at the bottom of your feet. It really, to me, meant watch your step. And I titled that the Watch Your Step Dream,
Mhm.
with eyeballs on the on the bottom of my feet. I'm sorry, did you see that?
Yes.
And and I know it's crazy when I look at my journal and see that, and
Mhm,
it makes me smile and laugh. But you know what it also made me do? It made me really be careful and cognizant of what she was trying to do. So I would put in safeguards. I would write down things. And my journal, believe it or not, my journal actually ended up helping protect me against her, because I eventually had to file what's called an EEO, an Equal Employment Opportunity, a grievance against her, because she was being so unfair in the way she was treating me as opposed to the way she was treating other employees. And when I filed that, they said, well, what day did this happen? What day did she do this? What day did she do that? Guess where it was all written? Right there. Every single day. What happened, the day it happened, who was present, who my witnesses were that saw it happen, and the time it happened. All of that in my journal. So, in that way, it can help you at your job to write down what's going on. It helps you cover yourself, because this is even legal in a courtroom. When you put the date, the time, and what happened, who was there, judges look at this and they say, wow, well, this, it looks real. And then they'll go and ask the people who you wrote down were there. They say the date and time. And it really gives a lot more validity to what you say, to protect yourself against lies and falsehoods that are aimed at you. It became very powerful. As a matter of fact, The other people who had complaints against that same manager, they came and they said, "Can we look in your journal to see what day that was that she yelled at me?" I had it all in here. They were so thankful. They were like, "Oh my God." And then the arbitrator and um the judge, he asked to see my journal. And it was all from what I wrote in here. So that was something that not only helped me emotionally, it helped me legally keep my job, stay out of trouble, and it helped my friends stay out of trouble because they were able to go back and know what day, what time, and what happened. Because the date is on the top of every page. Every single page I go to. Here I wrote about the coronavirus. Every day, every single day, what happened, it's in here. The coronavirus, the things I did. Here is, I was a supervisor at the post office. My employee right here, his name is Keith Williams. He was the very first employee in our building of 2,000 employees that died from COVID. He died. I drew his picture in here because he was a good friend of mine. So right there, oops, that was a cartoon, but Keith Williams right here. He was the first one in our building, and I was his supervisor as well as his friend that died from COVID. And then, so I sketched his picture in there. I took a picture of him off Facebook and I drew it into my journal as a memorial for me. That helped me remember him. And it helped me think about the good times, the fun times, the times we got together and had a joke. Because despite me being a supervisor, we were friends. I really liked him and he liked me. And it was a very powerful exercise for me to write about him and to do a sketch of him. That's one of the ways it helps you in your personal life, that journaling will help you. It can help you with your job when things are going wrong. And then as a supervisor, another way it helped is when an employee came to me that had a problem. I would write down, I had a work journal that was separate from my personal journal. My work journal, a lot of times I would write down what that employee needed, what challenges they were having, and or I would write down that they said they wanted to talk to me at such a time, at this exact time, or either tomorrow, the next day. I would write that down. Journaling helps you in every single aspect of your life.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kevin, for such a great conversation and sharing with us your experience about journaling. Yes, it is a really great habit to have and develop, to journal your life, your different emotions, yes, to put on the paper outside from your head to get more clarity in life, in your plans, and of course, for manifestation of what you really want.
Mm-hmm. I really appreciate you having me as a guest and allowing me, as you can tell, I'm passionate about it, so allowing me to just vent and talk about all these things, because many of these things I haven't talked about in a while. So it was really good. And that's another thing you can do. You can look back on where you were on this date and how far you've come, because every time we're always growing, we're always learning, we're always improving. And the journal shows how you're comparing yourself to your previous self. It's showing how you are successful. Whether you realize it or not, you have moved forward in your life.
Yes, and it is amazing way how you can go back to a few years ago and read your thoughts and see who you were before, how you were thinking about the world, about yourself, and this is how you can compare yourself today and 1 year, 2 years, and more ago. Yes, it is a really amazing experience to do journaling and grow together with this process and
Mhm.
manifest the things which you want in life. Thank you so much, Kevin, for this amazing episode which we created together in this discussion. I really enjoyed every moment of it.
Thank you, Elena. This has been so nice. This has been a very good conversation. I loved it. I love talking to you. You're a great interviewer. And thank you for letting me talk so much.
Yeah, I totally enjoyed it, and I'm sure that people who listening to us to this episode, they also will find so much value. And I'm looking forward to read your book.
Yes, yes. The book will not be completed for about another month or two. I have probably one fourth, the last fourth of it to do of the work. So I am almost done. And I promise you it will be done before the end of this year. I would love for it to be a motivational book, an inspirational book for people to read and learn how to journal to begin the new year with new goals, with new plans, with the resolutions and the techniques for achieving those resolutions.
Amazing, amazing. I'm looking forward to read your book and also see you again in our future episodes.
Yes, yes, thank you. And if someone wanted to reach me, they can reach me by looking up my name on LinkedIn, Kevin P. Hempstead on LinkedIn, or they can go to my email, which is kevinphempstead@gmail.com.
Thank you so much, Kevin, and see you
Thank
soon
you.
again.